small little itty bitty dent. Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm filming an update to my pan in every palette project. Basically for this project my goal is to hit 2 pans in every palette that I have. Until I have done that, I cannot buy a palette because I have so many eyeshadows that look so similar. If you haven't checked out the first video, I actually go through each and every single palette that I have and pick 2 shades that I want to focus on. And I said in that video that I'm not gonna, I could still change which ones I want to focus on, but most likely I'm not gonna change which shades because I feel like it's a challenge. Like I have to hit pan in those shades. But I noticed now that most of the shades that I selected are kind of similar. And I selected them because they're the ones that scare me the most, so I just kind of want to get them out of the way. But it's okay, I don't really need to buy a new palette, even though I want to. There's so many that I look at it and I want so bad, but I don't need them. So that is why I created this project. It's also kind of fun, I love hitting pan. I divided everything into 3 piles. One pile is the ones that I already have 2 pans in. The second pile is the ones that I have 1 pan in. And then the last pile is ones that I am focusing on right now. Okay, so before I get started, I do want to say that I filmed the intro to this project on February 19th, 2020. And today is July 20th. It's about 3 months. So yeah, this is about 3 months worth of progress. Okay, let's just get started. So if you guys are following along on my Project Pan journey, my Finish 20 in 2020, you're gonna see some of these shades already. And there's also one spoiler, so I'm sorry if you don't like spoilers. But I kind of want to show it in this video anyways because I'm so excited about it. But okay, I'm just going to start with this because I don't know what pile to put it in. This I counted as a palette because I just want to get all these little individual things out of my collection. And also it's old, but this had pan in it already from a long time ago and I just want to use this up. But I'm working on it right here where it's flat, so I feel like I'm just wearing the whole thing down. So you can't actually see the progress, which is kind of annoying, but I wear this pretty much every time I do my eyeshadow in the brow bone. I don't like using it in the inner corner highlight just because of how old it is. So I just keep it in the brow bone area. So I didn't know what pile to put that in, so I started with that. Okay, let's start with the ones that I am working on. So this is the ColourPop Take Me Home palette. If you watch my Finish 20 in 2020, this is the shade that I'm working on right here. This like gold. I don't know the name because I don't know how it works, but if it's like directly behind, then it would be called Saltwater, but it doesn't look like a saltwater, so I don't know. It has a big dip in it. I hope you can see that. I've really been focusing on that one. But I don't know how deep these pans are, so I don't know. I don't think I'm close yet. But I actually like that shade a lot more than I thought I was going to like it. So there's that one. The other one that I just rolled into my project in the last video, which was last week, I rolled in this yellow shade in the corner. It already has a huge dip in it. I hope you can see it. I was really hoping that I would hit pan on it today because it doesn't look like it's that deep of a pan, but you know, you never really know. I'm wearing this yellow shade in the inner corner highlight. So for the pile of ones that I have 1 pan in. Okay, so this is the Maybelline Irresistibly Ivy quad. When I showed this in the intro, it had 0 pan, but this blue shade was in my project pan. And if you can see, hopefully you can, there is pan in it. The other shade that I selected for this palette was this shade, but I have not touched it really. Not since I hit pan on the blue shade. But yeah, these were really easy to hit pan on, so I really should just focus on. But I have a brown shade in my other palette, so that's why I haven't touched it yet. Okay, this is the Subculture palette. This is the one that I have made the most, like, the palette that I think I'm gonna get out really quick. So if you watch my project pan, I have Cube in it, and this is a spoiler. So if you don't like spoilers, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it. I have hit pan in the shade Cube. I'm just gonna move it around. Hopefully you can catch pan somehow. I'm not sure which angle. I don't have a viewfinder, so I really hope you could see it though. It is there. But yeah, and then so in the last update I just rolled in Rowdy, which is this like dark purple. But on my eyes it looks like a black. So I'm like, I rolled in another black, which is just great. I don't know why I did that. I have used it as an eyeliner since rolling it in. And I've used this shade before that. I've used it as a like a outer V kind of color. Actually, when I posted that video, I was wearing this in the outer V. And then since then I have put it as a liner. I'm really curious to see, because this Cube shade took me quite a long time to hit pan in. But this is a matte, and I know the subculture had a lot of drama for people being like, for it being really powdery and people just barely putting their brush in it and it like already hitting pan in like 2 uses. So I'm really curious to see if this is going to be quick to go through. I've so far, since I rolled it in, used it once, but I've used it before that once or twice. The next one is the Electric palette, the Urban Decay Electric palette. Put this box here to hide the mirror. Let's see. Okay, so this had 0 pans when I showed it, but I was working, this was in my project, Chaos. This blue shade, and I have hit pan in it. Again, really hope you can see that. So that's 1 down for this palette. The other shade that I chose for this palette is Revolt, but I haven't really used it since, I haven't really used this palette all that much. Well, I haven't used the Revolt shade, the silver, since I got the blue out. But I actually have used this palette a few times since then. I've used Slow Burn recently, and I've used Thrash quite a bit. The one thing I dislike about this palette is how dusty it is. Like, I don't like my palettes being dirty. It is like a huge pet peeve of mine, and no matter how hard I try, that one is just always dusty. The next one is from the Too Faced Sweet Indulgence palette. This was one of the palettes that I said in the intro that I will always have one eyeshadow of this palette in my project pan, because this palette and the Urban Decay Original Naked palette are my 2 oldest palettes. So I just really want to focus on using these. So I already have 1 pan from last year, the Cherry Cola shade I have pan in. And then the other shade that is in my other project is Black Sugar, this black down here. And I wasn't using it all that much because I had the Creep shade, which is basically a black from the original Naked palette. I had both of those in my project pan at the exact same time. So I was focusing on that one because I don't even know why I was focusing on that one, because this is the Urban Decay palette is really the one that I want to use at first. I'm really focusing on that one. But I have hit pan in that. I should have started with that, huh? Because it spoils it for the next pile. But this actually has quite a bit of dip going in it. I've been using it. I'm wearing it today as an eyeliner. So there's that. I don't think that one will be that hard to hit pan, and the other one in the Naked palette's way harder. This one, at the intro, already had 2 pans, but I thought I'd show it anyways. It makes this video more interesting. I have pan in this like gold, and then pan in this brown shade at the bottom, right here. So there's not much change with that because it already had pans in it. This is the Urban Decay Naked palette that I was just talking about. This is another palette that I'm really... there will always be 1 shade of this in my project pan because I'm trying to use this one up. This one, I'm pretty much 100% sure is going to be my 2021 Pan That palette. This palette intimidates me so much because I feel like I have to pull in another palette with this. Like I can't just use this palette because this half of the palette I'm not really interested in using because I put them on my eyes and I swear they all look the same. Maybe it's just my palette being old and that's why the shadows look the same on my eye, but yeah, I really just want to use this up. So I already had Pan in Sin. At the start of the year I did not have Pan, but when I posted this video I already had Pan in Sin. Oh no, not Sin, sorry. Naked. This brown. And then I worked for like 6 months straight to hit Pan and Creep was basically brand new at the start of this year. So I did finally hit Pan. It's really tiny baby Pan. I hope you can see it. Finished 20 and 20. In my last update for my Project Pan, I tried to show the pan and you could not see it. I'm gonna try to get a close up so you can see it. But yeah, so this palette is actually done for this project, for the Pan in Every Palette project, because I now have 2 shades in this that have Pan. But I'm still gonna keep working on this. The other shade that I have in my Project Pan is Dark Horse. And I say every day that I'm gonna use Dark Horse. Like today I told myself I was gonna use Dark Horse and I didn't. I'm just uninspired by that shade. But I'm gonna keep it in because like I said, I tend to use the shades that are the hardest for me first. Okay, the next one is the BH Cosmetics Blush Neutral palette. And at the start of this, in the intro, I already had Pan in this brown shade in the corner. It's really tiny baby Pan. I hope you can see it. And then recently, in May, I hit Pan in this shade right here. It's also a tiny baby Pan. I'm proud of my baby Pans. Once I hit Pan, I'm like, okay, move on to the next one. That's why they're baby Pans. But this is actually a blush, but I've never used it on my cheeks. I've only used it as an eyeshadow, so I am counting that because it's 2 pans in one palette. So this one is done, technically. The one thing that I just like about this project is like, once I'm done with the palette, it just kind of gets ignored. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I have used a couple other shades. Here, let me just show you some shades that I've used, but I'm not really focusing on at the moment. This is from the BH Cosmetics Smoky Eyes color eyeshadow palette. I already had Pan in this shade in the intro. And the other pan that I selected is this red in the corner. I have used it like once or twice since the intro, but I'm not focusing on it. Today I am wearing from my Morphe, what is this? 3502 palette. Today I am wearing this shade, which is called Chestnut, which I am focusing on. It's like all over my lid. Like all over, crease and everything. And then I am wearing So Warm, which is the second shade that that I picked for this project. Let's see, I have used the Zulu palette a couple times. Specifically, when I had the blue shade from the Electric palette, I used this purple a lot. And I think I've used this orange like once, which is from my project. The rest of the palettes, like all my ColourPop ones, have not touched. And the ColourPop ones I really haven't... like all these I haven't touched because 2 of the shades that I selected were the glitter ones. And they intimidate me, which is why I haven't pulled those out yet. The Zulu palette, I thought about using once. I thought about actually rolling in this shade instead of Rowdy. But I figured Rowdy went with Cube. Of course, now I hit Pan and Cube from the Subculture palette. And then, like, yeah. Haven't touched this one. Haven't touched my Peanut Butter palette. Prism is my favorite palette, like, looks-wise. Like, look at that. It is beautiful. Which is why I haven't touched this one. And I know that's not the mentality that I should have, but I haven't used this one at all because it's beautiful. But yeah, this is my update. It's not very exciting. So I noticed that with makeup, I go through phases where I'm like on a roll, doing my makeup all the time, like 5 days minimum a week. And then I just hit a rut and I don't touch eyeshadow for like weeks, like 3 or 4 weeks at a time. So I'm just barely on the kick again, and that's why I'm filming videos again. I didn't film a video for like 2 months, I think. Yeah, so these last 2 weeks I've really been wearing makeup. So yeah, I'm hoping to make a lot of progress this month. I don't know how often I'm gonna be doing updates. In 3 months I didn't make that much progress, so maybe it's gonna be like every 3 months. But hopefully I keep this makeup kick longer than normal. Crossing my fingers. No promises though. But yeah, I have not bought any palettes. I have not been looking at any palettes because, again, I'm not buying any eyeshadow palettes until I hit 2 pans in every palette. That is my mission. That is my goal. That is what I want. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Thanks for watching and have a great day, guys. Bye.